friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing the Rock On Rap Songs book tag. And this is a tag that was originally created by Nicole's Bookish Nook, so I'll definitely have the original linked down below. But I was tagged to do this by Already Overbooked, so I'll also link his video down below. So the first prompt is It's a Hard Knock Life by Jay-Z. And this is to talk about a fiction or nonfiction book that's about an orphanage, a poor family, or an orphan. And I'm going to pick one of my recent reads for this one, and I'm going to go with Orphan. And that is going to be Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the first book in the Legends of the First Empire series. And one of our POV characters in here, Suri, is an orphan. She can often be found roaming the woods with her wolf companion, Mina. And watching the two of them together is really sweet and interesting, but I'm going to let anyone uncover her backstory for themselves if they choose to read it. Next up, we have Walk This Way by Aerosmith, and this is to talk about a book that blends genres. And one of my favorites that blends many genres is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is a blend of historical fiction, romance, fantasy, and there's some time travel, so even a little bit of sci-fi in here. The next prompt is Just Lose It by Eminem, and this is to mention a book that you think is funny or ridiculous in a bad way. And I had to think about this one, but one that comes to mind is The Slow Regard of Silent Things, and this is the number 2.5 novella in the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. And I'm just going to caveat, there is a place for this book, there is an audience for it, people will enjoy it, but my experience with it was a little bit different. All I'm going to say is there was 8 bloody pages describing making soap. I don't like descriptions in my books, and 8 pages of making soap was just, no. Too ridiculous for me. Prompt 4 is Thunderstruck by ACDC, and this is a book that shocked you either in a good or a bad way. And I'm going to talk about a book that shocked me in an interesting way. So I want to mention In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park, and this is the nonfiction memoir story of a young girl who defects from North Korea. And definitely reading about her life experiences while she was still living in North Korea and just reading about everything she went through in order to escape definitely had some shocking moments for me. So I'm going to recommend this one to anyone who is interested in that. Next up is Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses, and this is to talk about a book that is either set in or around LA. And I had one that came to mind right away. This is a fantasy romance series, and this is book 1, Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. It's the Bargainer series, and this has multiple settings. It's got multiple timelines, and it's a portal fantasy. But in the present day timeline, before the portal fantasy stuff comes into play, our main character lives in LA, and I think within the city, but definitely in the area if not. And she has kind of a beach house, and it's always sort of been her dream to live on the beach where she can walk out to the sand and swim and stuff. So this one would definitely qualify for that. Next up is Give Me All Your Lovin' by ZZ Top, and this is your favorite romance book, or if you don't really read romance, your favorite couple in any book. I do read romance, and this was tricky for me because I have so many romance favorites, but one that I've enjoyed multiple books in the series for, I'll mention the first book here, and that is The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. So I was excited about this when I found out that it followed an already married couple that was sort of drifting apart that wanted to come back together. I always think that's kind of different to read in romance novels. And the other thing that excited me about this is that you have a dual POV. So you get the male and female POVs, which is always fun in a romance book for me. Not only did I think the premise of this one was super sweet, I thought it was executed well, and I really enjoyed digging into both of our main characters' emotions, kind of behind their situation and tackling what they're both dealing with. It was really interesting to see all of that unfold throughout the story, so I would definitely recommend that one. So prompt 7 is Fight for Your Right to Party by Beastie Boys, and this is to talk about a book that centers around a celebration. And I definitely could think of a lot of books that centered around a holiday, but maybe less so around a celebration. I ended up picking Radiance by Grace Draven, and this is an indie fantasy romance that follows our 2 main characters on the cover. And this book opens with their wedding, but not only is it their wedding is also to seal a peace treaty between their races. So this is definitely a marriage for political gain. They haven't met each other. and they're kind of appalled by each other at first, but once they get to know each other a little bit better, they realize that they really appreciate qualities that the other one has. And it's just really sweet to watch their relationship grow and unfold, and to have them sort of tackle everything that they have to deal with together. Next up, we have Firestarter by Prodigy, and this is to talk about a book with either fire in the title or a red or orange cover. And I actually have one that has fire in the title. I'm going to talk about The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter. This is the second book in the Burning series, the first book being Rage of Dragons. And this is a polarizing series for sure. But one of the things I love reading is a revenge plot with an expressive, emotional character. And that definitely fits this series to a T. Tao is very reactive and emotional. He is so focused on revenge. And actually that's part of the reason it's polarizing, because people think his character is very one note or like entirely too focused on revenge. But for me, it's a great ride, and I really enjoy all of the mystery and lore in this series. And I'm excited for book 3 when it eventually drops, hopefully in 2025. Then we have Humble by Kendrick Lamar, and this is to talk about a fiction or nonfiction book that left you stunned at the audacity either of the author or the main character. And for this, I'm going to talk about The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. And this was sort of my first foray into grimdark. And the series kind of doesn't start that way. If you've only read Poppy Wars, some people are like, is this YA? No, there's a massive tone shift that happens sometime in book 1. And as the series progresses, this gets darker and darker and darker. And Burning God has a lot of moments where you're sitting with the main character through all of the crap that's going on in this series. Not only were there moments where the main character has an incredible amount of audacity, but even just R.F. Kuang and the writing choices she makes in here are definitely risky. And I think that kind of shows because this book is so polarizing. But I loved it. The ending of this gave me literal chills. And I don't often have to kind of stop and sit with and think about a book when I finish it, but this is one where I did. And then finally, the last prompt is to tag some people. So I want to go ahead and tag Ian the Reader, Nala, I Hear There Be Stories, and Nico from Nico's Book Reviews. And I specifically chose those 3 because they are our co-captains for Battle of the Bands. And so music-related stuff definitely makes me think of those 3. And I'm also just curious to hear what they have to say because their tastes are so different. So they'll definitely have different answers. So that was it for today's tag video. Let me know down below in the comments. I want to know your answer for prompt 4, a book that shocked you either in a good or bad way, because I think that's one of the most interesting questions on here, and I definitely want to know what everybody else's answers are for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye.